What it is not going to have a major impact on is this 2022 season of college football for the University of Michigan. What is going to have a big impact is our quarterback play, especially who is under center. And this has been an issue that has been hotly contested really even during the season last year as the season went on, especially once the Georgia game happened. And this is something that people will not stop just with their grating dumb opinions on. The people that don't understand quarterback play at all, people that doesn't know what goes into this decision. What kind of things are you looking for these guys to separate themselves?
So number one, I'll talk about both guys, and I'm going to start with JJ. I think if JJ wants to set himself apart, he's got to do this. And just breathe on the football field, because when that man gets on the football field, he is literally, and listen, I don't blame him, right? He's a highly talented, very fast-moving individual, but every time I saw him get the ball last year, he just seemed like all over the place, right? And he just seemed like he was moving too fast for his own body. And I think what JJ has to do is be able to trust himself and find a way to slow everything down, which I understand is a cliche to an extent. But he's got to find a way to be like, listen, I'm good enough to make plays happen without having to always be faster than everybody. I've got to be able to set up blocks. I've got to be able to sit in the pocket for an extra beat, maybe, so that window comes open and I can use my strong arm to hit that, deep in route or the deep out route, whatever the case may be. Because I'd have to go back and look, because I haven't really watched the tape, but I feel like he was very quick to exit pockets last season, which is detrimental to a quarterback. I also felt like there were probably times, if I'm just reminiscing, where our eyes were more on the rush than they were downfield, which, again, detriment to a quarterback. And then we just got to find a way to protect the football. For Cade, I think he takes the experience that he gained in Georgia, where he literally looked like a shell of himself and kind of deer in the headlights, and uses that to build upon. Okay, I've seen, as we've talked about, one of the historically best defenses of all time. I got zero help from my offensive line. I got no help from my wide receivers who were dropping passes. So let me use that experience to level up my game a little bit. I've got this, freshman, sophomore that's going to be pushing me. So I need to see Cade more consistent on shorter passes. Better timing in the pocket, I think, is going to be, and quicker decision making, because I felt like he held on to the football just a little bit too long sometimes. JJ got rid of it quick, and Cade did not get rid of it quick enough sometimes. And so I think finding the middle for both of those guys is what's going to, if one of them can find the middle, is going to set them apart.
See, for me, as you said with JJ, but again, in broad strokes, right? I want to see him play within the system more. JJ loves to play off schedule, which at times can be awesome. It's hard for a defense at times to defend off schedule. When you can extend a play that was covered and was dead,
but not every
and when
play.
you can extend it, that's great. The problem is people see this and they're like, oh, he extends the play, he's always making things happen. The plays exist for a reason. And off schedule is never going to be consistent. You can't run an offense off schedule. That's why offensive coordinators and brilliant X and O minds get paid so much money. Because if you can play within the system, a lot more of your good plays are going to happen within the design play, within the parameters of that play. That's how you have a consistently great offense, where we're moving the chains, where we're putting points on the board, where we're finding the end zone more regularly, or at least getting in field goal range, or at least not going 3 and out all the time. When you go off schedule, you give the defense a lot more opportunity. Yes, you stress them a little bit, but you also give them more opportunity to punish you for mistakes. and make big negative offensive plays. And when you go off schedule early, which is something that you mentioned, you completely take the system out of it. Even in the best offenses with a quarterback that is just completely makes things up on the fly, at least 80% of your good plays are going to come within the system. If you are bailing on the play early, you're throwing that out the window. And now you have to make something happen on the fly, which again, not a consistent way to run an offense. So I need to see him play within the system. I love the splash plays. I love when he rolls out to his right and drops a 50-yard pass across the field, across his body. Like, it's super cool to watch. It's fun. It's exciting, right? But at the same time, it's horrifying because you can't have a consistent offense that way.
It's horrifying.
And whether the result is good or not, the result being good is almost worse because it reinforces negative traits.
Then he does it again.
Because you got away with it, or you did better than get away with it. You succeeded in spite of it. There's a time and place for it.
What's the number one rule of a quarterback? Never throw over the middle late.
Of course. Now, there's a time and place.
Over the middle late, and when you're rolling out to the right.
Risk management is so important for a quarterback, and I don't just mean on any given pass. Listen, if it's 4th down and your back's against the wall and you need this conversion, I get extending the play, bailing, throwing something up for grabs. There's a time and a place. And we need to play within the system as much as possible. It's exciting to watch guys that don't, but it's less consistent and you will have less overall success. So I need to see him play within the system. Cade, I need Cade to play with an offensive play caller that actually calls plays that suit him and are tailored to him. And listen, people that ever listen to our podcast, people that have ever talked with me about Michigan football, I have not disliked a Michigan coach as much as I dislike Josh Gaddis in so long. It's been Brady Hoke era, I think, honestly. I do not like Josh Gaddis. Did not like the way that he ran a game. I think the introduction of Weiss last season and getting guys like Sharani Moore more involved, I think that helped him a lot. But man, it was really up and down with him at the helm. And last year, when we finally had success, it was getting away from what he came here to do. But the problem is when we did pass the ball, I don't want to get into the play calling thing too much. My hope is that Weiss, and this is a complete unknown, but my hope is that the Weiss and Moore offense looks a lot different and is truly tailored to whoever they have on the field. Because I think Josh Gaddis did a poor job of that. And I want them to take the things that Cade does well. Take his pre-snap recognition, which he's excellent at. Take his ability to hit the intermediate throws and highlight those, because he will. Take his ability to catch a guy on a slant with a really accurate ball early, before the defense has time to react. Look at what we did, how we opened the game against Michigan State last year. You got Anthony Edwards, true freshman, takes a quick slant, 75 yards to the house, whatever it was. How did that happen? Timing, quarterback recognized it early, perfect pass in stride. Not a long pass. He didn't have to go deep with it. Short to intermediate. It's like a medium pass, but even on the shorter side of medium. Perfectly in stride, defense can't catch him. He's gone. Listen, Ohio State abused Michigan on crossers for multiple years in a row. All right, you don't need a rocket arm to complete those passes. You need a smart quarterback that understands the system inside and out, knows exactly where his guys are going to be when they're going to be there, in an anticipation throw that's in stride. Now, Cade struggled at times. He wasn't perfect. Let's remember, Cade was a first-year starter last year. A first-year starter. Everyone talks about the growth that McCarthy may have. What about the growth that Cade may have, going from his first year starting to his second year starting?
Right.
A quarterback that, whether you think it was because of him or in spite of him or somewhere in between, that beat Ohio State and won a Big Ten title. And I'm the first one to tell you that wins are not a quarterback stat. They're not. But we had an extremely successful offense last year with Cade, and an offense that I think could have been a lot better. I want to see Cade, listen, better accuracy on the deep balls. You have to. Take a little more risk. Don't be afraid of the downfield shots, right? Get that as a more consistent thing in your game. But also playing within this system.
Especially on first and second down.
A system that is hopefully more tailored to him.
Listen, I'ma get it, you know I be on a